Hello everyone, welcome to the world of Kumar Brothers. This is Abhishek Pranay Kumar, and that is.
Joshua Jabakumar.
Here we'll be discussing a variety of topics which will be random, sometimes out of the blue. Just want to keep it like,
Spontaneous.
yeah, spontaneous and casual, not in a very structured way.
Mm.
Yeah, let's move into the reason why we started all this.
The reason why we started this multiple factors involved.
Hmm.
Another factor comes up to your mind the first.
I want to keep this as a library for my progress in life. Personally, I wanted to start this long time ago, but maybe I didn't have that much of an audacity to start or insecurities or whatever. But finally, I decided, fuck it, let's just start. And we're not going to be like sharing all kind of things. So whoever gets to see this, yeah, they'll be seeing. Apart from that, it's not like we're not going to wantedly advertise this, publicize and stuff. So whatever we are learning every day in our life will be compiled and presented in a not a structured manner, but with the right information, which is rational enough and not imbecile like how many people discuss things in the community.
In the silence or other, but yeah, whatever we talk about out loud, whatever we talk about in person, random particular, we are going to compile and we are going to keep. Maybe it's a way for us to see in the future, maybe 1 year, even from 1 year from now, when we look back at the first episode or how much ever recordings we take, we can see how our thoughts have changed, we can see how our speech has refined, we can see how spontaneous we have become.
Just like a journal, just opposite of writing, we are just recording it, posting it digitally. So apart from the self-journaling and stuff, we are posting this on social media. Social media and the current generation. So how is it functioning? What do you think?
Obviously, we can start off with how it started, the intent with the intent that people had when they started social media. But currently, it isn't a big surprise. I'm not going to go into a lecture. It is what people live for. It is what people die for. It is what people live off of. So it is also a way of livelihood. But then again, people seek that livelihood in a different manner. Or in other words, it has warped our realities to the point where we can't do anything without linking it to social media. So we can't ever relinquish a particular memory without the fear of not capturing it and not posting it and not letting others see it. So it has become a rat race of
Gen Z.
yeah
So
of our current generation and the generation after us. And we are old enough to see that another new generation has been born and has been molded from their infancy by social media, which is a very scary aspect. Just being molded by social media in the COVID era, we have become such brain rotted pieces of shit. To be molded from day one of your birth, from year one of your birth. That is the reality that we are coming into. And I don't think we can escape that reality. The reality where social media takes dominance over any memory that we have, any relationship that we have. How many people don't even think about staying in the moment, and much rather would think about just having it posted on social media for other people to see. Some people may have a genuine reason of sharing it with people they love, but it's mostly for the clout, mostly for the.
So what about you? How do you handle social media? Were you addicted to it, or like were you constantly posting stuff? Me personally, I have never posted stuff except for a video of mine involved in a music video a few months ago. Apart from that, nothing.
அது மட்டும் எங்க போஸ்ட் பண்ணியா?
That was shared
in a group.
Yeah,
privately.
Private area, public account.
The Let It Go music video தானே?
Let It Go இல்ல, அகாடமி வாசிச்சு போட்டது.
அகாடமி சொல்லுங்க. ஓகே ஓகே ஓகே. நான் எனக்கு டக்குன்னு அந்த மைண்ட் வந்து
So ever since I was a kid, I was legit. So back then when I was in 7th, my friends joined Instagram. And
wow, 7th yeah.
And they all forced me to join.
Is there any difference?
7th to 8th transition. So I don't know why, but even as a kid, even before I hit puberty, I wasn't much interested in social media. So I never really opened an account or wanted to view what others were doing. Occasionally, I used to use my sister's Facebook account to see others, but apart from that, nothing. So even when I was in 11th, 12th, college first year, I never had an account. It was just WhatsApp, the main source of communication. People used to call me a boomer or whatever, but I never took that personally. And recently, 8 months ago, I started an Instagram account. So for me, once you enter social media,
8 months starts.
It was a year. 8 to 10 months. So social media, banda, what's the point of keeping private account or whatever? You have come to a public platform, keep it as a public account. If someone shares that, takes a screenshot, then you'll be whining, so it's public now. So my account is a public account. I don't care who sees, comments, nothing of that sort. But I do have a private account, which I don't tell anyone about it. So I just use that for gaining some insight and knowledge. So yeah, half the time my public account will be or disabled. Occasionally I use it. So and I'm a person who doesn't like posting statuses and viewing other statuses. Till date I have never posted a birthday or whatever status on WhatsApp or anything. So except for one story which he posted on his birthday, I just reposted it, I guess, for my birthday. We went for a bike ride. So yeah. How about you?
Yeah, same thing. History edita, short form the solnona. Started in the 6th grade, Facebook instead of Instagram. Facebook la ஆரம்பிச்சு, and even then, me myself, I'm thinking about it. I've been made a gamer instead of wanting to be a gamer, but that's a different story. But yeah, being someone who was totally addicted to games, who was made to be addicted to games, I found obviously I couldn't buy any of the bigger games at that point of time, but there was Facebook games. So me and my group of friends and I used to log into Facebook for the sole purpose of playing games. So that's how it started gradually.
Not for viewing any models.
No, unfortunately we were too innocent for that. So it was purely games, and some few games allowed for multiplayer experiences. So those were the games that we really desired to play. Gradually, over 9th grade, it started. I started using it as a proper social media place, posting some the emo stuff, chatting with people, trying to keep in
People
contact.
like
Classmates.
Okay.
People like the random
education purposes கடலை போகிறதுக்கு.
ஆமாம், 9th grade educational purposes ஆரம்பிப்போம். Obviously, it was to just keep in contact with certain people, start conversations.
Flirt.
Flirting. In the 9th grade, whatever that flirting was. Then gradually, 11th standard Instagram, same shit. Posting a few things, the sketches that I really wanted to continue. And yeah, ever since then, it was just about posting stories and messaging people. Now, posting stories, me personally, I also have, to be very frank, it was also a reason of
coerced decision.
Not exactly coerced. It was more of, wanting other people to see that you also have a life.
Basically, at that point, you are immature and you wanted some validation from the society. So,
yeah, maybe because all my life I was like a person who never experienced anything, and people either started seeing me as a person who didn't have any experiences, so to speak.
So you were kind of that kid who was an underdog in school. who wasn't in the limelight at any point of time during the school. Were you like that, or was it the other way? You had a good time with your friends, or
Good time with friends is different.
you make it sound as if your childhood or your school life was a tragic one, which never
Not
had any
tragic.
consequence.
Not tragic.
So that people saw how good your life was after that. Wasn't your life good enough,
Hmm.
or the so-called above average life as a male student in school?
Not necessarily in the aspects of, you know, achieving something. So that's the difference. I had a good time with the school friends. I've had experiences. I've had memories. Playing
Outings.
outings were there. School time, there weren't much outings. Yeah, my family restrictions, all of those things. But then
Which are currently no more restrictions. Shattered.
shattered. Broken chains.
Like how Jesus broke the chains and made the devil run away.
Jesus, I can break chains.
நிறைய பேர் இருக்கு பைபிள்ல.
சரி.
ஜீசஸ் பண்ணல அப்ப.
அதே மாதிரி
ஆ.
யாருக்கு சரி அவங்களுக்கு கம்ப்ளீட் சரி. Either way, it was more of me feeling like I haven't achieved anything and my life was substandard. So through, you know, experiences or through adventures, especially because I was restricted so much, when I had any experience, when I had any adventure, I posted it so that you know, I gained validation from it. And the short form is gaining validation from stories.
So when did that aspect of yours change? When did you realize saw a loop? There's no point in getting validation. Obviously, after the point when I got so. Excuse me.
After you realized, it was much later that I realized it.
So currently, how old are you, Jabakumar?
24.
So I'm just 20. Enter my 20.
Huh?
Not 20 that. 21. Seri. Seri.
So,
Teenage முடிஞ்சிருச்சு.
mm-hmm.
I feel like teenage years are the age you are supposed to explore, do all the shitty stuffs. No, what is life? Not entirely go through all the fuck ups, breakups. By the end of teen stuff, you need to be molded enough to become a man and take on life. Some people, on the other hand, during the teen itself, they achieve so many things. They become an entrepreneur, eventually turn out to be a millionaire. But once you enter 20s, as a man, I feel it's the prime time in your life. The first half of 20s, where you need to hustle, not think about work-life balance. Like few people who think work and life can be balanced during their early 20s, including him a couple of months ago.
எல்லாத்துலயும் ஒரு
Personal experience for you. So, what is your perception now? Do you think work-life balance is essential, or can it ever be there during your 20s?
Work-life balance is a privilege, and not everybody can afford that privilege.
In order to afford that, you can't have work-life balance initially. That is the core point here.
Or it's like at least
That's
you should have had exactly.
அப்பா சொத்து
Generational
இருந்தா
wealth. Generational wealth இருந்தால், if generational wealth is there, or if your father is successful, or if your grandfather is successful, however, generation. If you are born into a wealthy family, then you are given the privilege to have a work-life balance. Then you are given the privilege to even what you say.
work-life balance in our life ஒரு பேலன்ஸ் ஆகிது, அவனுக்கு தான் இம்பேலன்ஸ் ஆகிடுவாங்க எல்லா
Exactly.
ஆஸ்பெக்ட்லையும்.
It doesn't even need to be in a balance.
நான் பாலிடிக்ஸ்ல எப்படி போய் தேவையில்லாம ஒரு அந்த மாதிரி விழாம இருந்தா நிம்மதியா இருந்திருக்கும்.
Then again, I'm not talking about the extreme run. I'm just talking about, say, your upper middle class family, just if you're born, to the point where your family has around like a good enough wealth to support you.
What is that good enough? How do you classify upper class, lower class?
I amount is also good because amount is also
So you describe the lifestyle and how you correlate with this stratification. So starting with
in a personal aspect, the things that I have like felt like, at least if I had these things that I did not have to care about.
Like
Simple thing: fuel, electricity, money for food.
electricity.
Yeah.
I
ஏன்
think
ஏசி ரெண்டு நாள் எக்ஸ்ட்ரா போட்டு வச்சா அவ்வளோதான், வீட்டில் இது பூகம்பமே வெடியும். எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி, ஃபியூல், ஃபுட்டு, ஒரு டயட் கோக்குக்கு 40 ரூபாய் செலவு பண்ணுறதுக்கு யோசிக்கணும். அந்த எசென்ஷியல்ஸு, பியாண்ட் எசென்ஷியல்ஸ், not even beyond essentials, these are the essentials: food, fuel, electricity, maintenance, ability to buy certain things, certain new things.
Basically, Maslow's hierarchy, right?
Exactly.
Starting with their physiological, then progressing. So,
Unfortunately, some of us are born with like any physiological needs.
pyramid கீழே pyramid நீங்களா வாழ்க்கையில அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேர் இருப்பாங்க. நமக்கு எங்களுக்கு அப்படி இல்லை, நாங்கள் பிரமிட்ல ஒரு மேபி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டு செகண்ட் அப்படி இருக்கும்.
ஆனால் இருந்தாலும் even then, even if you are in the first or the second base level of the hierarchy being that, okay, you have a house, you have a family, you have the sufficient food, at least you are not starving. But then again, you can't achieve greatness through these things, and then you are made to search for more money, or you are made to search for more ways to acquire those necessities. And that's why work-life balance doesn't work out that way. If you want to achieve it early, of course, using work-life balance, having work-life balance, you can achieve it maybe when you're 40, 45, 50. Say 40 vachikalam. 40 you can achieve. If you want to achieve it at least before you're 30, you can't really expect work-life balance.
So when we speak about 20s, so work-life balance is one aspect. So what do you think are the things which disrupt the balance? Starting with the relationship and stuff. So what is your opinion about
relationships? Let's just
start with the relationship, a boyfriend girlfriend thing, not like motherly, dog. So I want to be clear.
That's all I wanted to clarify. Relationships are not just the boyfriend girlfriend. You have your family which you're born into, which you have to support.
Now we'll be addressing how a boyfriend girlfriend relationship will disrupt the balance of your career or whatever, or the
அதை explain பண்ணலாம். To explain that, we can also take into the account of having other relationships which are mandatory to most sane people.
Okay, there's a difference between a need and a want. So what is a need? Just the definition of need with an example.
Without which you're severely compromised, or which could even
so basically I can be having a 20 rupee water bottle, or my own house's RO water here, instead of this Coke, which costs $40. So this is not a need, this is a want. So need, when it comes to relationships, can be like a parental relationship, a sibling relationship, those are needs.
Yeah, exactly.
But a girlfriend, for me personally, is like a want. What do you think?
It's a desire. Parental relationships, sibling relationships, even friends, cordial relationships are formative. They shape how you become, they shape how you are, they shape how you think. And through that, when you become your own individual, you start to give back to those relationships, and you have certain, I wouldn't say obligations, but you are
expected.
Not even expected. You yourself will be pushing yourself to at least give back to them as much as what they have done for you. As opposed to this boyfriend, girlfriend, or
romantic relationship.
Simple term, romantic relationships. Romantic relationships are a desire because...
So, just to be clear, if you are curious, so currently I am not in a relationship. I was never in a relationship all my life.
Debate.
So I was never in a relationship technically. So me, I was never in a relationship. What about you?
Been in a few relationships. Few are
Play by matching.
Say 3 particular relationships.
3
Ah. இப்படிலாம் சர்ப்ரைஸ் எல்லாம் இருக்கக்கூடாது.
மூணாவது
ஸ்கூல் டைமு, எல்டிஆர், அப்புறம் இது இந்த ட்ராமா
history on.
History of personality.
So the rules which we are going to follow in this podcast is we are not going to mention the names or the specifications of the person in our life,
We are
real
going to
life.
mention the specification.
We will mention the specification in a certain way which is covered. Like for example, if Joshua's ex's name was Kanimali, we won't actually use the name Kanimali. We might use fruit, Kani, Palam, Palam அந்த மாதிரி யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஸோ
இல்லை அதுவுமே
ஓ அது அப்படியே இதான் சரி கனிமொழினா வேறு என்ன வைக்கிறது பேர்? ஓகே ஸோ இட் வில் ரிமைன் அனோனமஸ். ஸோ கமெண்ட்ஸ் வந்து யாரும் கதறாதீங்க. கமெண்ட்ஸ் ஒரு மாதிரி தெரியல, பார்ப்பாங்கன்னே தெரியல. சரி சரி. ஸோ his ex was the histrionic personality, so an attention seeking, imbecile and literate person who acts as if she is illiterate, constantly causing drama and provoking and disrupting the life of a man. நான் பாதி படவே பேசுறேன், நீங்க
பர்சனல் டெஃபினிஷனா போகுது. சிம்பிள் டர்ம்ஸ் an attention seeking,
பேசிக்கலி ஒரு
dramatic person.
படத்துல பாருங்க ஒரு டிப்பிக்கல் ஒரு கிளிங்கான ஒரு கிளிஷேவா ஒரு கேரக்டர் போடுங்க.
relationships, all of those. Obviously, in retrospect, all of these were a waste of time. And all of these stemmed out of a desire. It was, at that point, it felt like a need. Every time it feels like a need. Every addiction feels like a need, and this was no different from it.
You are using the word addiction for the romantic relationship. So are you saying it's just like how people get
how addictions start? Yeah. It stems from a desire.
So what was your desire back then? So was it you need some emotional support like how most girls need? This podcast may be a bit misogynistic to certain people, but it is not really misogynistic. So if you have an open view, just don't take it personally. So yeah. And we don't support pseudo-feminists, in case you're watching. So.
As if we haven't seen men who are more desperate than women. So honestly, it's all misogynistic about it.
Maybe school time la பண்ணது ஒரு more of a peer pressure னு வெச்சுக்கலாம். மச்சான் அவன் கமிட்டட் ஆடா, என்ன எல்லாம் ஆயிட்டாரா, நான் இல்லையடா அப்படின்னு பண்றது அப்படி ஒன்று இருக்கலாம்.
Maybe for you.
இல்லை நான் கமிட் ஆகலை எனக்கு yo just because someone may not be involved in the sports, but he might be a good spectator, a good fan or audience to it, so he might know all the rules, knacks and tactics. So ஒரு புக்கை நான் எழுதினா தான் அதை பற்றி நான் பேசணும் இல்லை, அந்த புக்கை நான் படித்தா கூட போகிறேன். ஸோ ஐ மைட் not be the author. So I have seen a lot of my friends, so yeah, I have interacted with them. அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கலாம். Hormones basically, puberty time.
Basal physiological aspects irundha puberty, hormones, the drive, sex drive, appoda the growth nadukku, appoda the sexual characteristics all that.
So that's one of the reasons. Second, just draw emotional support. For some people, the toxic home la varuvanga, traumatic life, avங்களுக்கு ஒரு கம்ஃபர்ட் தேவைன்னு சொல்லிட்டு பேச ஆரம்பிச்சு அந்த பொண்ணோ பையனோ கம்ஃபர்ட் கொடுக்குறேன்னு போய் விழுந்து, கம்ஃபர்ட் கொடுக்காதேன்னு சொல்ல விழுந்தது ஏன் சொல்கிறேன்னா, தமிழில் சொல்லுவாங்களே அடிப்பட்ட பறவை நீ எடுத்து வச்சு நல்லா வளர்த்தாலும் அது சீரடிகள் அது பறந்து தான் போக போகுது, இல்லைனா செத்து போக போகுது. ஸோ எதிர்வே எவனும் லூஸ் இட், ஃப்ளைஸ் ஆஃப் எவனுக்கு கெட் இட் பேக். செத்துச்சுன்னா அவ்வளோதான், அது ஒரு மெமரியாக போக போகுது. நீ அடிப்பட்டே நிலமில் இருந்தால் தான் அது தான் கூட இருக்கும். ஸோ நாட் ஆல் கேசஸ், ஐ நாட் ஜென்ரலைசிங், ஐ நாட் ஸ்டிக்மடைசிங் எவ்ரிதிங். 190 இப்படி இருக்கும்னு சொல்கிறாங்க மோஸ்ட்.
And that's why it's very hard to actually settle down. It's very hard to actually find a person worth your time. Yeah, coming back to the history of my relationships, ellame in retrospect were a waste of time because none of it had a genuine reason for us to begin with. It was all...
Does love need a genuine reason at the first place to start?
Yeah, many people romantics la solvaanga, the genuine reason தேவைப்படாதுன்னு.
So,
But once you can come into the adult life, you need a genuine reason.
love on உண்மையில இருக்கா? What is love? Define love, Joshua Jabakumar.
Biblical form.
நான் வச்சிட்டு இருக்கேன்
Unconditional. வேற என்ன words இருக்கு அந்த verseல?
Unconditional, forgiving.
Ah.
So biblical போனா அப்படி. So it might sound a bit boring. Back then I used to say this quote about love, a phrase or whatever you can call it. So love is when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Boom. That's called love.
Mm-hmm.
So unstoppable, immovable. So this can't go past that, and this one let it go past it. So technically, that's when the spark happens. இதெல்லாம் நினச்சிட்டு இருந்தேன், இப்போலாம் ஒன்றுமே இல்லை, எல்லாம் ஒரு கதை தான். ஆடியன்ஸை தப்பாக மிஸ்லீட் பண்ணக்கூடாது.
அவன் டைலாக் எப்படிலாம் யூஸ் பண்ணுறேன்னு பார்த்தா
கிறிஸ்டோபர் நோலன் தாக்க மாட்டாரா? இல்லை. ஸோ in a way, most people take emotional dependency for love and they think that is only love and they use that, generalize the term. ஸோ நிறைய பேர் நம்ம சுற்றி இருக்கிறவங்க பார்த்தா 4 பேர் 4 நாள் அவங்க பார்ட்னரோட பேசலைன்னா சண்டை வரும். Because at the end of the day, they want to rant, tell all things out to them, share their experience. So at Panwana, their mind becomes clouded, foggy, they become agitated, frustrated within them intrinsically. So what does that mean? It's like a journal, something I want to share. So basically, I'm sharing all their emotions, dumping onto them. And likewise, they will share, so it goes on mutually. At one point, the guy or the girl might have something to do. They might be busy, become busy for 1 or 2 days. That's when the demarcation happens. So I'm not able to allot enough time. At that time, example maybe you can take not my life. So for example, I'm the guy. There's a girl. She keeps talking to me for 6 months, and I listen to her every fucking single night. Yeah. Be poor, ma. Be poor, ma. Effort, ma. இல்ல தேவை இது
நான் அதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு எக்ஸ்ட்ரா ஒரு வாரம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணோம்
தேவை. So editingலாம் இல்லை, that is why it's raw podcast. So 6 months you're listening to a girl talking to you. 7th month you have something more to do or more pressure. At that time, if you are not able to provide the same amount of energy or how do I say reciprocated, that's when everything shatters. The castle which you built comes down to the ground. So they'll be like, so I'm not important to you anymore and stuff. And the guy or the girl might be like, for a few months they might try to adjust, saying, okay, it's fine. But one point, there will be a breaking point. That is when they split, which happened to him recently. So yeah, everything is transactional. I don't think there's something like pure love. Maybe the love which my father and my mother have for me, you can call that love. It's my dog. I don't have a dog. In future I'll buy one. That might have some true love for me. But still I need to feed it though. If I don't feed it for a couple of days, it will obviously get frustrated and might attack me. And that is something transactional. But yeah, புனிதமான காதல் அப்படின்னா ஒரு ஹார்மோன் இல்லை எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு, எல்லாமே வருது.
Purity in and of itself can be associated with love. Because
lust is
half some psychological theories behind love literally state that love starts with infatuation or lust. So it starts with something physical, it starts with an attraction, and then it progresses to something that is metaphysical or something that is beyond the physical realm, that delves into their emotions, that delves into their own understanding of how a person works. All of that comes into play. But
the precipitating factor is ultimately looks and attraction.
Yeah, for most people, again, no generalization or whatever.
That's why we use the word most. Not all or few maybe, but not all, most. So do you think those relationships will start back in school or those puberty times based on the full force of rush of hormones last forever, or like What have you witnessed all these years? How many relationships have been sustained and still sustaining?
Again, it's a gamble. Obviously, it's a gamble.
Personally, in your life, have you seen any? I have seen few, but I have seen one.
Is that successful?
Yeah, they're almost going to complete a decade. I think.
That's not success. Survival is not striving.
Hmm.
And again, that comes back to the point of, what a relationship should do for each other. It should build each other. It should ultimately benefit each other. I feel like I would get into a relationship after this only when I am sure that without that relationship, I'm not as optimal, or I won't reach my full potential without that relationship. And that is, it might sound very conditional, it might sound very like, I'm expecting something out of that relationship, but in the very end, it's how a relationship between two significant others work. They should build each other, they should help each other, they should support each other, and that's what people think of when they think about love. They need that support, they want that support, but it's not just about staying in that same place. It's about pushing forward together. It's like saying the whole is greater than the individuals. Only when the a combination is
Gestalt psychology, no?
just yeah. When the whole, when the entirety or the combination of two individuals are
greater than the
if
sum
you are
of
polyamorous, multiple individuals or whatever.
disclaimer: bro is going to get married within 1 year. So.
I will be absconded.
Podcast evidence.
So, and the whole, whatever it consists of.
Enna whole.
Huh?
Enna whole.
In a relationship between the individuals. When that brings out something that is greater than each individual could do by themselves, then okay, yeah, the relationship is justified. But then again, that also puts love in a very behavioral perspective, very naturalistic perspective, and it's not very humanistic. In nature, anything that combines to bring about something that is whole than the individual, a symbiotic relationship, will survive, will thrive.
But a parasitic relationship
that will also thrive at the cost of
the host,
particular individual.
Basically, a parasite enters the host and feeds on him or her until the host is deprived of all the nutrition and stuff.
Or the relationship can turn codependent, which is what you explained. Either the one person whining to the other, and then the other person whining to the.
Have you ever whined?
A lot.
Okay.
And I still do whine, and you know that.
To whom? I don't think we can call it whine. Maybe.
We can differentiate that between. So I would say whining is when a person expresses their dislike or
without the thought of I'm going to take an action or something.
Exactly.
What we discuss is if
so I also explain
he explains it and then we see progressively what I will do next. Think about all the solutions, explore it early. It's not like if he just shares it, he becomes fine. That is not even the whole point. He shares in order to get more ideas and solve the problem. So solving the problem is the key. Not just sharing. So gone are those days when you feel good just because you shared something. కొంచెం కౌన్సిలింగ్ అగేన్స్ట్ పోற மாதிரி இருக்கு எக்ஸாக்ட்லி புரியுது
I feel like a counter argument is regulation is fine for me. I still do vent out. But the point is, when you express grievances about something without having tried to, or without actively trying to get rid of it or make things better, You can be in the process of making things better and you can express your grievances to somebody. So that is a process of ventilation where you feel okay, I have let it out. Let me continue to make this better. That is different from a person who vents it out for the sole purpose of venting it out without making things better, without actively trying to make things better. And then the next day or the next hour or the next week, the same cycle repeats.
So those people are like, so many people are out like that. I feel like they like to play the role of a victim. So they won't be able to achieve something great, not even get do something progressively. So in order to find a reason to state that I didn't do this, they look at their past. Let me be clear, the past isn't always stuck to you. The traumatic childhood, yeah, it happened 10 years ago, it happened 15 years ago. You can let go of it. It will be hard, but you just can't state that as a reason for all your failures or for not doing something in life. People always associate things, and just because they're not able to upgrade in life, they state that they go into that loop. So, without even knowing, some people keep playing the victim role, whereas some people knowingly play the victim role to get some benefits and stuff. I feel like those people need to come out of it.
Yeah, it could be two ways. One, they are actually so retarded that they really can't see a way out of their own situation, but they just feel like they can whine about it and feel some temporary relief. Or the second
Example,
thing,
profound intellectual disability. Say retarded nature. Okay.
MRன்னு சொல்லணுமா ஐடின்னு சொல்லணுமான்னு கேட்குறேன். Second thing is they need that validation. They survive, they live off that validation. So that is why they won't even make an active effort to change the circumstance or change the outcome of a particular thing. Instead, they will keep that thing as it is for however long they can and present that particular thing of misfortune to a person who's willing to listen to them, who's dumb enough to listen to them, and then whatever comfort they provide will be their sustenance for that period of time, and this will repeat until that sustenance wears off.
And they might find another person who listens to them.
It again, they will find whatever justification they can.
So scientifically speaking, what we are talking about is basically behavioral therapy. Like you can take CPT. If you don't know CPT, just Google it. So basically, thoughts, behavior, action. இல்ல டிப்ரெஷனுக்கு வந்துட்டு அந்த இந்த தெரப்பி யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம்ல behavioral activity. So cognitive behavioral therapy. So
okay.
Found by Aaron Beck. அதெல்லாம் டீடைல் எதுக்கு சொல்லிட்டு சரி ஓகே. So thoughts, behavior and actions. So these people live in the same thoughts and their actions obviously will be very monotonous, same, following the same mundane routine, which will be hard for them, and that's the eventual behavior. So for people who are in depression, even though I personally like Andrew Tate, the Tate brothers, what he teaches or preaches, it's not like I'm not a fan to anyone. I just pick up the teachings. If it's rational enough, I compile it and then I apply it to my life. So ultimately what he says is take raw action, and that is what all these therapies focus on, raw action ultimately. So in order to come out of the depression, what they are saying is just do some action. Instead of just lying in the bed, just go wash your face or just fold one piece of cloth and then go back to bed. So that action will activate different neurons in your brain. So the transmission, those stuff will slightly change, which might help you to come out of depression. So basically what Tate says is what happens in therapy for hours and hours by paying a shitload of money. I'm not against psychiatry, I'm a fan of, I love psychiatry though. But sometimes it's not like people who go to counseling or something are weak, but it becomes a habit for them. They become dependent on it. The whole point is to make them independent, but what most people here do is, from the therapist point of view, in order to sustain a patient, they get money and make them dependent on them. Whereas the patient doesn't have enough courage to come out of it, they become dependent. So once the therapist moves, just like how a boyfriend moves, they get another boyfriend or another therapist. So
Yeah. So in therapy, we often find that termination of a particular
Behavior.
no
Thought.
termination of a counsel.
Oh, counsel. Okay. End of session.
Ah,
Mm. Yeah.
end of not a session, end of a fucking therapeutic relationship is very important. You often, if you read into psychology or psychiatry and how counseling actually works, any ethical psychiatric or psychology counselor would focus on setting a time limit, expressing that time limit to the particular patient, and then terminating at that particular time limit to prevent codependency or dependency from that particular patient. Thing about it is when it comes to relationships, very often we find ourselves or people who get into relationships, they find themselves to be this counselor, and there's no termination point for a relationship.
Maybe some people are afraid to terminate.
Yeah, because
No, yeah.
termination will either mean
இல்லையா சார் ஞாபகம் வந்தாலும் கேட்டேன் எனக்கு வந்தா நிறைய பேர்
நிறைய பேர் வந்து termination in a relationship doesn't fucking mean breaking up. It just means snapping back to reality and then working on each other for the future that both of you dream.
பேசிட்டே இருந்தா ஒன்றும் நமக்கு தட்டில் சோறு போகிறது இல்லை, போய் முதல்ல சோத்துக்கு வெளியே பார்க்கலாம்.
Exactly. Exactly. Build yourself, or at least what relationships are they're very useful for, build each other up, so that in the future when you actually fucking start a family, you are better off with each other. Instead of just like, this is the argument that people use and that my previous relationships have been plagued with. Be in the moment. Be in a particular moment, and in that moment, since this problem is prime, this problem is high priority, focus on that problem. And the issue with that is that fucking problem comes up every fucking week or every fucking day. It will come up every day. It will come
or
up
monthly thrice.
It will never sort itself out. It's a cycle. It will again become a cycle.
We are not addressing menstrual cycle here. Monthly thrice na Sunday na.
Monthly thrice understand they have an issue. Sorry, okay.
Monthly 3 days.
Sorry. Other yeah, apart from the dealing with menstrual cycles, whatever it may be, when it comes to any emotional aspect or any aspect that you have certain control over, like the Marcus Sonamari, if you have some control over some fucking thing, why not control it? And that's the issue with the relationships of, I wouldn't say the relationships of today. Any immature relationship, any relationship that is not founded on a base understanding of each other, that is not founded on improving each other, will come back to this point, which is using each other for each other's relief, temporary relief, instead of actually controlling what can be controlled. They can control their emotions, they can control their outcome. Most of the things that people, at least personally, say, okay, you can't generalize it, but you can personalize it. I will personalize it. In my experience, many things can be changed, could have been changed. Many things could have been better. Many things could have been actively worked on, but it wasn't. Because of some certain excuses, which makes it feel like that person couldn't control that situation. But in reality, they could control that situation. And even if they couldn't control that situation, if you couldn't control it, why give a fuck about it? But that's the issue with today's relationships, or like at least the relationships that I faced. If you can't control about it, whine about it once, then let it go. Once is fine. Okay, once, sorry, okay, at least you're letting the other person know that this thing exists. That is acknowledged. There's some acknowledgement, you let it go, fine. And if there is any update to it, then you update the other person. Okay, you're keeping them in the news, you're keeping them in the loop, fine. The same thing with no updates, with nothing that you have actively being worked on, if you again go and vent out the same thing to the same person, how do you expect things to change?
Isn't love supposed to be unconditional, like Jesus said?
Exactly.
You are putting a condition here. Maybe once or twice. There's a limit coming inside this construct. So, what is the limit? For this person, it's 3. For my mother, it's 6. Like, how do you set the standard for limit?
The standard for the limit.
I think there can be no limit as long as the person is retarded. So,
no limit, na? You mean?
So, if you are in a relationship with a retarded person who keeps whining, you can't expect them to understand it after once or twice. They need to be progressive about it. They'll just keep whining.
Exactly. Then
So
you have to
basically, your taste was pathetic. Your choice was bad. I wouldn't say your choice was bad. If at that point you were also immature, even now we both are.
Immature in the வார்த்தையை நான் use பண்ண மாட்டேன். It's not.
Maybe you don't.
Maturity is immaturity is a completely different thing.
Obviously.
Not subjective. Say subjective. It's more about me being desperate.
So, why very desperate? என்ன கேட்டா, men, okay, humans, when they don't have a higher purpose in their life or a goal which they are striving for it, they eventually get or seek distractions as they go into it. So, if you had a higher purpose which you really wanted to accomplish within this span of time, you wouldn't be listening to someone whining. You wouldn't have a higher purpose at that time. The higher purpose itself for you was a lower purpose. Since you don't have anything like that to associate or work on, you fell into this side. If you are on that side, this won't even coincide. You wouldn't have even been in the first place to listen to someone whining. I feel like humans should have a purpose in life. Not like you will find a purpose in life. There's already a purpose for you. Like you create that purpose for you. Just explore out various stuffs, things, work it out. Spend 1,000 hours in a single activity. You might become an expert. Then you can work on it. These are the additional things. When additional things, the sugar coating, when the toppings of a cake become the main ingredient for your life, the main ingredient itself gets spoiled.
They will be neglected.
So, you prioritize the toppings over the main mixture of the.
Yeah, when you hyper focus on the coating of sugar instead of the actual bread or instead of the actual cake inside of it. In simple terms, yeah. For me, I didn't have a higher purpose in life until very recently. I realized that I had to be the one
to change the bloodlines.
அப்படின்னு சொன்னா அது ஏதோ pretentious-ஆ இருக்கும். But yeah, the fact of the matter is I have to make a change, or I have to sacrifice this so-called work-life balance in order to provide a better future. At least right now, I don't care about the future where where I might have a wife, where I might have kids of my own. I already have certain people that rely on me. Even though they don't explicitly rely on me, even though they don't only rely on me, I have certain responsibilities towards them that I have to
increase the quality of life.
Yeah, increasing their quality of life, making sure that they grow with the right necessities, with the right amount of necessities, not overindulging in it, but not being starved of necessities.
Rather than surviving in this world,
exactly, they should thrive. They should live. They should actually live. And it's not. We are not in a war-torn society. We are not in a third world country. This is a third world country, but anyway.
India, if என்ன சொல்றது கேட்டா இங்க நம்ம ஊரே ஸ்மார்ட் சிட்டின்னு சொல்றாங்க, பார்த்தா பள்ளத்துல போய் விழுந்தா நினைக்கிறாங்க. ரோடும் தெரியல ஒரு.
Either way, we are not living in a slum. We are not, but still, I don't want them to think about their necessities. I want them to think about a higher purpose in life as early as possible.
Basically, satisfy all the 4 pyramids initially, so that they go to the top level, get the actualization part, to where they can think about something, they can contribute back to the society, build and contribute back.
Exactly.
And for that, getting the raw material for their building.
And for that, they have to explore as early as possible. They also do need guidance, and that is also a responsibility from my side. I need to guide these particular individuals so that they do not, become lazy because they have achieved their necessities. Some people may get lazy. I want them to actually have all of these necessities and experience certain things in their life early on so that they may have a idea of where they will lead their life in the future. But yeah, so that is my for now, that is my higher purpose. And when I presented it to my latest last ex relationship, again the same argument, the argument that I mentioned came up. Be
You
in
are
the moment.
neglected.
You are neglecting the relationship that you have right now. You have to be in the moment. You have to enjoy the savor the moment. Everything will fall into place. Everything happens for a reason. If it is right, it will happen automatically. So why are you stressing about it? எல்லாமே
ரொம்ப அந்த
reason.
மாதிரி போயிடுச்சு லேட்டா சரி.
Exactly. So ultimately, those ideologies did not align with my ideologies, and so I had to break that off. ஸோ ரவுண்ட் அபவுட் வேல ஆரம்பித்த இடத்துல வந்து சொல்லணும்னா மை பாஸ்ட் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்ஸ் வேர் வேஸ்ட் ஆஃப் டைம் பிகாஸ் once I had a higher calling, these relationships did not align with them in any way, sort or form. At least if they helped in, furthering this higher calling, or at least being patient while I achieve this higher calling, I would have appreciated it.
Rather than saying as a big, like a waste of time, technically yeah, it's a waste of time, but it's a good experience. Only thing here is, as I mentioned, teens. Experience, not experiences. So, one or two is fine, but it's like a rally. You keep going into a relationship and getting fucked up, then
you have a problem.
Wasting a decade of your life, 15 to 25. Then reality hits at 26. So, get to experience, know this is the thing. What all, it's fine. நான் சொல்லுவாங்க நீதிமான் 7 முறை கீழே விழுந்தாமல் 8வது முறை எழுந்து போகிறார். ஏதோ வேர்ஸ் இருக்கும் பைபிளில் தெரியல. What are we running behind? What do we want in life? What do you want in life? What do I want in life?
Coming back to the very first agenda or very first point that we made, work-life balance is a privilege, and it could be multiple aspects focus பண்ணலாம். ஒரு ஆஸ்பெக்ட் வந்து இந்த லவ் லைஃப் கூட. When you don't have the privilege of a generational wealth, when you don't have the privilege of at least having your immediate family members be wealthy enough to support you, at least support your necessities, you can't really afford. I mean, you can. That is the thing. There is nothing stopping you from chasing a love life or chasing mediocrity or chasing an addiction, useless addiction. Addiction versus obsession. So you're addicted to something that is useless. There's nothing stopping you from doing all of that except your own conscience. If you have a conscience that makes you realize that in the future, if you keep chasing all of these things, you will end up the same, and your legacy will also end up the same. If you don't have that conscience, then yes, you can have that work-life balance regardless of whether you have this the safety net of a generational wealth or your parents being millionaires or the Lachadipati or Crorepati or whatever it may be. Without that safety net, you still can have. So this is not like you either breathe or you die. You still can. You either sacrifice your work-life balance and make sure your legacy, at least from your point onwards, your legacy is above certain standards, so that they can chase a higher purpose sooner rather than later. Or you can be mediocre all your life. You can be mediocre in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, and then realize suddenly it will strike when you have your own kids, when you have your own legacy, when your legacy is in front of you and asking you for reasons as to why they don't have a better life than they have right now than they will have at that point, then you will realize this thing of bad decisions that you have made. So some people may say sacrificing your work-life balance is a bad decision because it will strain your life, it will stress you out, it will cause complications for you. That is life. Not everybody is given the opportunity to have a fair life. It is unfair that you can't
Life
have.
on earth is unfair, but
Exactly. It is unfair that certain people don't have the privilege of a work-life balance.
survival of the fittest.
Life doesn't give a fuck.
No one gives a fuck.
Exactly. So you either come to terms with the fact that you can't have a work-life balance, or you keep whining that you don't have a work-life balance and you want to have a work-life balance, and you stay mediocre until you realize staying mediocre was the bad thing to do, and your legacy will stay the same until somebody in the future in your line, in your bloodline, chooses to break this chain.
Like us.
Yeah. Unless you decide to break that chain, you let it fall in the hands of somebody in the future in your bloodline to break that chain. And would you really want to give that responsibility to your children or your grandchildren or those who come after? In your struggle in your life,
So ultimately, what do you want in your life? What do you want? If you ask me in one word, I can finish. Freedom. Freedom in every aspect of my life. So in one word, the ultimate thing is initially, okay, money, cash and balance. So then I realized it's freedom which I want. I don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck. So மாசம் 30ஆம் தேதி சம்பளம் வந்து கையில் நின்று மந்த் எண்ட் வந்து அப்போ ஒரு ஹாப்பினஸ் வரும். அடுத்து ஒன் வீக் தான் சஸ்டெயின் ஆகும். ஒருத்தங்கிட்ட போய் கெஞ்சணும் 1 வீக் ஆஃப் லீவுக்கு. என் சொந்த அம்மா அப்பாவை பார்க்கறதுக்கும் சரி, என் ரிலேட்டிவ்ஸ், என் நீஸ் நெஃப்யூஸ் யாரை பார்க்கறதும் சரி, ஃப்யூச்சரில் ஓன் கிட்ஸ் டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ஒருத்தன் காலையில் போய் விழுந்து மெயில் அனுப்பிச்சு ரிக்வஸ்ட் கேட்டு அதில் சீனியாரிட்டி பார்த்து. ஸோ பேசிக்லி திஸ் 8 to 5 இஸ் நாட் பேட். நிறைய பேர் இது பேசியிருப்பாங்க, பட் subjective. I personally don't like an 8 to 5 job, so does he. So what is freedom here again? So today I just went for a run, we both went. I was wearing an Adidas, she was wearing a Puma. But I just mentioned the word Adidas, I never mentioned the quality of it. It might be a 2K shoe, a 5K or a 10K or a 20K or even a 50K shoe. So freedom is when I'm passionate about something and I want to enhance it. I like running, so just a 2K shoe wouldn't be enough for me. I need the right cushioning and everything. So I need a 10K shoe, basically. So I don't want to wait the whole year for Christmas to get that shoe or for my bonus or save every month. If I cross that store and if I really need it, now it becomes a need for me in order to protect me from my ankle injury, my knee pain, which transits to the back pain as well. So I want to buy stuff without even looking at the price tag, just to satisfy the quality and not deteriorate my health. It applies in every aspect. Nowadays, maintaining healthy diet, how hard it is. Getting an avocado juice, like it's $100.
It's hard for us, for at this level.
For most people in our society, or middle class, but getting a sting is just $15 or $20. Drink 3 or 4, work, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, which we'll be covering in subsequent podcasts, other videos as well. But ultimately, in order to live a nice lifestyle, maintain your health, do the things which you love, spend time with your loved ones, basically live your life, create your own life, build it, not living someone's dream. So, as you were saying, if you don't sacrifice your initial 20s, you'll be working for someone else's dream, building their dream. If you build your dream and sacrifice the outings, social interactions, little by little, you can eventually build your own dream and people will be working for improvising your dream. So, dream would have come true by then. So, freedom is what I personally want in life. I don't want anyone to dictate what I'm supposed to do at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. It's not like I'm against the government or something, but 10 a.m. if I want to hit the gym, I can hit. If I want to sleep at 1, yeah, I will. Ensuring I lead a very holistic and healthy life.
It's okay. Sleeping at 1
1 p.m. Take a nap at 1 p.m. after gym.
நான் 1 AM நினைச்சேன். அது வந்து
1 p.m. விஷயம் கிடைக்காது. ஸோ
அது வேறு இது வேறு. Within our biological needs, whatever we can get. அதுக்கு 2 மணிக்கு தான் நான் தூங்குவேன்னா அது biologically inclined to fail at that point. Yeah, same thing. To end things, நீ சொன்ன ஃப்ரீடம் வேணும்.
ஆனால் சில பேர் வந்து they see money as an evil thing. பணம் எனக்கு தேவையில்லை. என் வாழ்க்கையில் இருந்த நிறைய பேர் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க, ஏன் அப்பாவே சேர்த்தான், பணம் தான் எல்லாமே இல்லை. பணம் தான் எல்லாமே இல்லை தான். லைக் that is just famous clip I saw. Like money doesn't buy you happiness னு சொல்லலாம். நான் தான் நினைக்கிறேன். Money doesn't buy you happiness. Yeah, it buys you crazy rich ass happiness. சொல்லுவான் ஒரு இன்டர்வியூ கேட்பாங்க, நிறைய பேரை கேட்பாங்க. பணக்காரன் நிறைய பேர் தான் சொல்லுவான், எனக்கு கடைசி பாஸ் எனக்கு முக்கியம் இல்லைப்பா, பணம் தான் முக்கியம் இல்லை, பணம் தான் வாழ்க்கை இல்லை. Ultimately he gets to travel in a private jet just from one country to another country, whereas you, me, இதை நீங்கள் பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தீங்கன்னா கண்டிப்பாக நீங்கள் ப்ரைவேட் ஜெட் வச்சுட்டு இருக்க மாட்டீங்கன்னா. சரி, ஸோ பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கீங்க. ஸோ நீங்களாம் நம்மளாம் என்ன பண்ணுறோம், புக் பண்ணோம், போனோம், ஏறணும், நாய் பொழைப்பு, ஒரு ரேட் ரேஸ் சொன்ன மாதிரி அதெல்லாம் ஓவர் கம் பண்ணால் we need money. So what I say is money is a tool, a very essential tool to live your life, not just survive. So காசு வேணாம் இல்லை, எவ்வளோ தேவை அது உங்கள் லிமிட். ப்ரைவேட் ஜெட்டுனா ஓகே, வெறும் உங்கள் சொந்த கார்னா ஓகே, சொந்த பைக்னா ஓகே 50. ஸோ just adding cybers, zeros to it. So everything is subjective. For us, we haven't set the limit. The sky is our limit. So
we'll keep pushing.
So to all the people, males and females, people in relationships and those who are not indulged in any addictions or whatever, even if you're indulged, no offense to you guys about whatever we spoke. Even if you're offended, we both genuinely don't give a fuck. So that is the first point. நீங்கள் எங்களை பற்றி தப்பாக நினைச்சேன்னா ஆக போகுது எங்களுக்கு. What is going to happen to us? Are we going to delete this? No. Are you paying us? No.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah, if you want exclusive premium membership, கண்டிப்பாக அதை எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ் பண்ணோம், மாடேஸ். ஸோ நீங்கள் கொடுக்குற லைட்டிங்காக இல்லை, இந்த பெப்சி நீங்கள் வாங்கினீங்களா இல்லை, அந்த ஃபோன், கேமரா, everything is paid by us and it's just for us.
Yeah.
And on top of this, if you like, you can continue watching this or see the other stuff. But yeah, ultimately, society is a motherfucker. So there's no point trying to gain validation.
If at all we want you to do something, it's to think instead of being blinded by something.
So be rational. Not devoured by emotions.
So preconceived notions, restrictions, not societal restrictions, but it's like whatever you're born with, you start questioning it. If you question it, either you will become stronger in that, or you will find that it is actually useless or a bluff or an illusion. So if you truly believe in something, why don't you question it? If you don't truly believe in something, then you will be afraid of it being false. If you believe that it is the truth, then why not question it?
Only if you're in a delusion, you ain't gonna question. So So conclusion, you only live once. Make it a life.
Worth remembering.
அப்படின்னு தான் சொல்லலாம் வந்தேன். ஆனால் யார் ரிமெம்பர் பண்ண போகிறா 100 வருஷத்துல?
இது திருப்பி நைலிஸ்டிக்காக வரும். Ultimately, you live something that you don't regret. அவ்வளோதான். Yeah, basically நீ regret பண்ணாத மாதிரி ஒரு வாழ்க்கை இங்கே வாழ். மற்றவங்க ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கணும்னு யோசிக்க தேவையில்ல.
In 100 years, no one is gonna remember. Maybe you, maybe us. Yeah, the people might remember for more centuries if we are actually gonna establish what we are talking about. But if you are watching this and not doing anything in life, I don't think anyone is gonna remember you. Your grandchild might know fragments of your life. But what is another point of knowing? There is no point. Or there might be a point. which we'll be discussing in the next episode about purpose of life. So we'll meet you there. Cheers.